I wanted to talk about TV shows. I think the reason why I never really talked about it before is because I really didn't know what to talk about. Should I just pick a show and talk about it? Should I just dabble into what the fuck I saw on my DVR the other day? I don't know. But so what I decided to do was just start from one, and I started describing it, and it led me to 2, it led me to 3, and the next thing I knew, I had a bunch of TV shows that I wanted to talk about. And I could spread them out, but I don't think I want to go from never talking about TV shows to only talking about TV shows. You know, when it rains, it doesn't necessarily have to pour. So I decided to do something fun, and I just sat down for a few minutes and really thought about it and put pen to paper, which is a euphemism for I typed it up because I live in 2018. I have a list in front of me, not Jericho's list, like some asshole at my job said. It's not the Jericho list. It is the top 10 Orsini's favorite TV shows list. Now, this was a very hard list to put together. I grew up on a lot of great shows. But I think looking at this list, a lot of these shows are either late. No, not even. I think this is the 20s and 30s. I don't really have any of my childhood shows on here. Big Power. I wanted to get into some of that stuff. That's not on the list. Big Power Ranger guy, obviously. Literally have all the seasons on my external. Literally all of them. Okay, all of them, good and the bad, because there have been some good seasons, there have been some bad seasons, but they're all on my hard drive. Loved it when I was a kid growing up. It gives my heart great joy to know that my son enjoys them now as a kid. He doesn't follow it so much, but whenever it's on or whenever he's on the Netflix, he tends to dabble a bit, so that's pretty cool. Big Power Ranger guy. I said on the last I think what was it, 21, 20? I don't know if it was the last one. Where I answered the question about the Saturday morning cartoons. Not a big Saturday morning cartoon guy. Was definitely an after-school 3 p.m. lineup guy. You know, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. We could do this shit all. We could do this dance all day. So those were some of my childhood shows that I really got into. They did not make this list. This list is actually a little bit more adult-oriented than that. I just felt like they were different lists. You know, because these are some of my, like, I loved Darkwing Duck as a kid. I will not sit through Darkwing Duck now. So I put things on this list that not only I've seen before, that I truly loved, and if I haven't seen it in a while, I would be more than willing to watch it now or watch it again. Some of these shows I've seen every episode, every season, multiple freaking times. Especially number 1. Number 1, I have driven into the fucking ground. Over and over and over. Some other noticeable mentions. I was actually trying to get them on the list because they're all shows that I do enjoy as an adult, and they were in the running. They were in the running, but they did not make the list. I had them on the list, and then I would think of another show, and I actually ended up going on my external and seeing what I had, and I just. I can't forget this show. I can't forget this show. And the next thing I knew that the ones that I had on the list got lower and lower and lower until they were finally cut. So I have three honorable mentions here that I have to talk about real quick before we dig into this top 10. And it's so ironic that Mrs. O is sitting next to me because these 3 honorable mentions are actually her shows that I just happened to be stumbled upon and actually got into myself. Literally all 3 of these honorable mentions that I am about to talk about were all her shows. I actually think there's about 2 shows on the actual list that, once again, my wife watched and that I just jumped into and all of a sudden started liking. The first honorable mention is actually one that we just finished watching the other day. Not that we just first saw the show like the other day. We've seen the show before, but we just caught up with the newest season just the other day. The Shannara Chronicles are awesome. If you haven't seen the Shannara Chronicles, this show is freaking great. It's an MTV show, technically speaking. I think it's exclusively Netflix now. The first season was on MTV. The second season was done for Netflix, and it is awesome. Now, this is more of a sci-fi fantasy type tip stuff. You know, it's got gnomes and elves and magic and all this different stuff. But what drew me in originally, the reason why I say that my wife watched it and then I kind of fell into it. 2 words, folks. Manu Bennett, baby. He is the man. For those of you out there who are grown men, Spartacus, bro. Crixus, the guy who played Crixus from Spartacus. He is an amazing actor, and he brought a lot to this show. I actually think he did a better acting job here than in Spartacus. Here, he didn't have to rely on just his brutality and his in shape. I mean, he was covered for most of the show, so I don't know what the ladies had to imagine it, I guess, and hoped and prayed he was still in great shape. But it was just a well-written show. The characters were really cool and easy to get into. The diversity of it was great. Everybody was equal. There was no hang-ups. They didn't rely on stereotypical bullshit. They just told their own stories. So I thought that was cool. So Shannara Chronicles, you got to check that out. The second one, and then my wife probably got to shake her head, Humans. Humans was a really good show. So Humans is it's not even a transition show where it came from Britain and then came to the U.S. It never really came to the U.S. It's strictly a British UK show, and it's awesome. It's short, but it's awesome. It's 2 seasons so far. I don't know if there's going to be a third. I haven't heard anything. That's 2 seasons, I think, of 10 episodes. But they're hour episodes, and they're really fucking in-depth. Really fucking in-depth. It's like, the best way I can describe the show was kind of like iRobot, but in, like, show form. And if the robots weren't really that fucking aggressive, they're just artificial intelligence units. These are robots that come into your home, and they assist people, and they're kind of like part of the family. They're like mechanical pets. But they're, some of them are like really emotional. It's just weird. Like, you got to see it for yourself. It's a very interesting show. Again, you're going to hear a common theme with a lot of these shows. It's just well written. Like, with the way that they wrote this show, it's just like, it's plausible to me. Where, like, if robots or if androids lived in the home, this is how they would behave, and this is how people would react to these robots. Like, it was a very interesting, well written script. To me, anyway. That's why I think I got into it. So that was a good show. There was a third honorable mention. I should have wrote these down. If I remember it again, I'll talk about it. But it was Shannara Chronicles, definitely, and Humans. So let's get into this top 10. I legitimately cannot remember the third. I wrote down the list, but I thought about the 3 before I turned this thing on. So if I can come back to it, goddammit, I will. There's a third one, and I can't remember what it is. But let's get into this top 10. It was a lot of thinking. A lot of stuff went into this top 10. So here we go. Top 10. Number 10. Oh, yeah. A drum roll. Yes. You love the old school. Number 10 goes to Aqua Team Hunger Force. It will always be in my heart. Aqua Team will always be in my heart. Listen to that beat. Little Schooly D. Meatwad, Frylock, Master Shake will always have a space in my heart. That was a show that came out, I believe, it debuted in like 1999 or whatever, or 2000. It was definitely back. But man, it was one of those late night shows that was, it was like on the Cartoon Network at like 2 in the morning. It was just, and my brother and I would stay up and we just watched every fucking episode. That's another one of those shows. All of these, if I'm not mistaken, every show on this list, I literally have every episode on my laptop right now. So Aqua Teen's definitely on that list. Definitely a piece of me that I enjoyed with my brother and my family, and the jokes. Oh man, the jokes. It got weird though. Like the first 4 seasons of Aqua Teen, classic shit, and then it just got odd. Unit Patrol Squad took place. It was just weird. The 100th episode, and I don't know. It got awful toward the end. But if you just cut it right there on the fourth season right there, if you could just squeeze in that 4th season, man, it was an awesome show. Awesome show. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So number 9. Oh, the anticipation. Ah, yes. I'm about to hear a scoff in the corner, but Community at number 9. What an awesome show. Absolutely. This show caught me by surprise. I'm not going to lie. Community caught me by surprise. I saw a few episodes here and there. Finally decided to make the commitment and just actually sit down and watch it in order. And man, this show, the paintball episodes, Troy and Abbott in the morning, everything to the virtual reality stuff. This show just made sense to me. It was awesome. The bagel joke will live until the end of time with me, especially as a New Yorker. That was a great joke. Chevy Chase brought himself back into my life, and it introduced me to Donald Glover. I had never really seen much of his stand-up up until that point. I thought he was hilarious, and then I found out he was a stand-up guy. I got a chance to see Weirdo, and he's funny. Childish Gambino stuff, I get into it. I like the music. The Atlanta show, not big on it, but that's cool. Everybody has their own thing. Just the show overall was just awesome. Alison Brie, I knew Alison Brie was going to do something great. I know it. And she ended up dabbling in my world, and she did glow. I just knew she'd be something special. I did. So that's my number 9 show. Yeah, I'm barely putting this list together right now. This is really happening. So number 8. Wait. Oh, technical difficulties. Pulled that back up. There we go. Number 8. We're live, baby. Oh, Chappelle Show. Chappelle Show. Number 8 goes to the Chappelle Show. Now, thus far, I have to say, upon retrospect, now that I'm looking at a lot of this list, it's a very Caucasian list that I have. I have a very, God bless you. I think it did pick that up, by the way. That was very loud. I have a very Caucasian list now that I'm overlooking this. This might be the most ghetto show on my list. This was the one the dudes in the hood was talking about. Chappelle Show. When this show debuted, literally no one can shut up about it. Everybody was the Rick James bitch, and I'm rich bitch, and various other renditions of bitch. You know, Tyrone Bigham, the Prince skit. The show was just awesome. This was a short show. It only had, I think, 2 real seasons. I think they did some other shit with the show along the way, but it only had really 2 full seasons before the Africa trip happened and everything went to shit. So, when it was on, though, it was great. The jokes were great. And the proof is in the pudding. When he brought the characters back for that SNL skit, you kind of knew right then, man, the legacy had been set. This guy's going to be made forever. And the stand-up stuff he's doing on Netflix, pretty good. I'm really into it. I haven't seen Chris Rock's yet, but then again, I'm not as big a Chris Rock guy as I am a Dave Chappelle guy. This guy's hilarious. Love Dave Chappelle. Love the Chappelle Show. Absolutely love it. Drum roll. Number 7, baby. Number 7. Oh! Love the beat, too. At number 7, here comes the scoffs. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is hilarious. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is hilarious. Hilarious. And it's funny because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is currently in its 5th season. I just got put onto this like a few weeks ago. This is already one of my favorite shows literally ever. I'm almost done with the show, actually. I've caught up quite a bit. But man, this show is hilarious. Hilarious. And yes, it might seem awfully high on this list, but I'm telling you, it's a great, great show. It is hilarious. All the characters. Obviously, Gina's the best. There's no doubt about that. Gina's the best, followed by Rosa, and I got to go with the captain. Captain Holt and his feud with Munch. This show's great. If you haven't seen it yet, you gotta check this show out. It is awesome. It is a good time. Every episode, I've never seen a bad episode. It just hits and hits and hits and hits. It's great. I have a fun time every time. Absolutely. Here we go. Drum roll for number 6. Number 6 is gonna be a crowd favorite. I promise you. Everyone likes number 6. Oh yeah. Archer at number 6. Everyone's, and this is another one of those shows. We can bring this down. Another one of those shows, much like when I described Aqua Teen. If you take Archer to about, we'll say it's 4th season, maybe the 5th, and you stop it right there, it's an awesome show. After all that, when it started getting into all these different stories using the same characters and yada yada, it just gets weird. It got dumb. But up until that point, This show was great. Top tier show. Almost made my top 5. Almost. One new show pushed it down. But Archer was great. The renditions, all the different versions of Archer and Lana and Cheryl and Pam, just and the most underrated character of all, Dr. Krieger and Dr. Krieger's girlfriend, which, by the way, my wife and I did dress up as for a Halloween couple's costume. I was Dr. Krieger, of course. She was the beautiful Asian girlfriend. That's about as close to an Asian as I'm going to get for the rest of my life. is Dr. Krieger's girlfriend. So, great show, obviously. And when I mentioned my lists to people at my job earlier today, that was the one on the list where everybody was like, fuck yeah. That's the one. That's the one right there. Drum roll. Let's bring that drum roll back, baby. Here we go. Wait, where'd it go? Nope. There we go. Ooh. That ominous music. I'm going to let this rock for a second and let's see if you guys can figure out who number 5 is. No? Can't get it? Once Upon a Time, my number 5 top 10 favorite TV shows. This show is another one in the category of my wife was watching it and then I just kind of got into it. Once Upon a Time is a story where they take your childhood fairy tales and make them more modern and spin them in a different direction and tie them all together into one great story. And it was a great story. And had it stopped at number 6, you're catching the tone here, aren't you? Had it stopped at number 6, if we ended it with season 6, it would have been perfect. It would have been perfect. Actually, if you would have ended the show at season 4, including all the material between those last 2 seasons, if they would have kept it shorter, it would have been probably a perfect series. They stretched it to 6, but even still, you know, I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but 6 was truly the ending of that show. They're currently doing a season 7, but the season 7 is so bad they've officially canceled it. They're going to let them, out of respect for the audience of that show, they're going to let them finish out. But, you know, what can you say? 6 seasons of Once Upon a Time is exactly where it should be and where it should have stayed right there. But up until that point, great show. Absolutely great. Love it. I will always love that show, no matter what. All right, so number 4. This is the one that bumped Archer out of the top 5. Let's get that drum roll. Uh-huh. For most people, this show is going to be a lot higher. That's how good this show is. Not just for its comedy, but definitely for the dialogue, for the writing, for the storytelling. Rick and Morty, definitely in the top 5. Rick and Morty, number 4. Absolutely, for me, one of the funniest fucking things I have literally ever seen. If you're not noticing by now, there's a lot of comedy. A lot of comedy on this list. I love comedies. If you can get me going and tell a story, if you can make me laugh and make me think, I love you. And Rick and Morty does that. Rick and Morty, that last episode, the second to last episode from season 3, with all the Ricks and the Mortys and the way that training day episode at the Citadel. Oh my God, that was great. That was a great storytell. Absolutely awesome. And I love that show so much. I want to know. The only thing that sucks about this show, as comparison to the other ones that I just mentioned, it takes 8 years to make these fucking Rick and Morty seasons. Apparently, there was like a 2-year break in between 2 and 3, and God knows when we'll get a 4. That's the only thing that kind of sucks about this particular show, is that it takes way too long to churn these things out. But I guess, you know, the wait makes the heart grow fonder. So. But it's definitely worth the wait. So I can't wait to the 4th season. And I can't wait to see what Rick gets into next. Or I don't even know. Is it Tiny Rick? Is it Pickle Rick? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Now we're down to the top 3. And before I drum roll, I have to say that the reason why these 3 shows are in my top 3 is because these are the only 3 shows not only entertained me, not only told me a good story, but these 3 shows legit had moments on the show where I actually cried. I felt so much emotion from watching these episodes that I legit had like emotional reactions. I cried. All right, so drum roll this one for me, please. We're going to take it to number 3. Number 3. We'll play this one out. There you go. Only 12 seconds, but happiness. How I Met Your Mother will always be right here. You can't see because it's not audio. It's only audio and not video. But I'm patting on the section of my chest that where my heart belongs right here. It will always be right here in my heart. How I Met Your Mother. One of my favorite TV shows, literally, of all time. Of all time, How I Met Your Mother is literally one of my favorite. Barney, Robin, or even Robin Sparkles. You can get all kinds of different Robins in there. Ted Mosby, huh? Big Fudge. The days of Marshall and Lily. The couple that I think we patterned our relationship after. The great Marshall and Lily relationship. I promise you, and fans have said this in the past, and I kind of agree. You're not going to find a better married couple than Marshall and Lily on TV. You're just not. I mean, you'd have to go way back into time to one of the old school shows to get that kind of relationship again. You know, where the two people are equal. He's not a dumb, doting husband, and she's not the nagging, bitchy wife. It's just a great couple. Two people who love each other, and it's just awesome. All the characters were easy to get behind. Yes, it was a different version of Friends. I get it. And again, this is a very, very Caucasian list, so you have to excuse me. But it's definitely one of the top shows of all time. Of all time. And it's not even a discussion for me. Yes, it's definitely one of my favorite shows. But it itself, one of the greatest television shows of all time. Which takes me to 2. Drum roll, please. The drum roll. Uh-huh. Some of you are very confused right now. Well, most of you are probably confused. I'm going to let the beat drop before I start talking. Yes. Okay, if you don't know what that is, and most of you probably don't, well, you're probably saying, why the fuck would he pick such an obscure number 2? That was the theme to Volume 5, which would be Season 5, technically speaking, but they label them as volumes of Ruby, which is not an actual television show per se. Not on. I watch it on my TV, but it does not air religiously on television. It's technically an online show that has been on television. Kind of a technicality, I know, but it's my list, so suck the fattest dick you can find. Ruby has legit made me cry. You want to talk about storytelling? This is an amazing storytelling show. The characters are awesome. You get behind literally all of them. No matter how many times they increase the roster and the cast, they hit home run after home run after home run. They're on their 5th season. They just completed their 5th season. And like I said, they're not a traditional television show per se. They are originally found on a website called Rooster Teeth. And just to give you an idea of how far back with Rooster Teeth I go, my wife and I used to watch videos on Rooster Teeth before it was Rooster Teeth, when it was just redversusblue.com. We used to watch the Red vs. Blue series way back, Season 1, the Blood Gulch Chronicles. That's how far back we go, literally from Episode 1. And one of the running jokes on Red vs. Blue was that an insult that they used to run with each other on the show and in private, in real life. They used to call each other cockbites. And obviously, cockbite became a big thing amongst them. But you can't name your company Cockbite, and you can't have cockbite.com because that's gonna increase a lot of crappy traffic. So it took cock and moved it to rooster, and they took bite and moved it to teeth, and roosterteeth.com is a lot easier a sell than cockbite.com. So that's how that happened, Rooster Teeth. That's how far back I go. Literally, if you go to my my online page, I actually am a member of that page, and I've been a member of that page since long before I can even remember. So definitely one of the second on my list as the second greatest or show I've ever fucking seen, the one that I love the most. Ruby Rose, Yang Xiao Long, Weiss Schnee, and of course Blake Belladonna, my 4 favorite ladies of all time. You gotta catch this show. It's on it is exclusively on roosterteeth.com, but they do air the episodes after the fact on their YouTube channel as playlists. So it's like a lot like Netflix, where you can just purge them all. And I suggest you try them because they're ridiculously awesome. So I'm going to get to the number one. Number one. Here we go. Start over. There you go. Take me where I cannot stand. Yeah. I don't care. 'Cause I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. If you don't know what this show is just based on the fucking opening, we can't be friends. We cannot be friends. I am no longer friends with you. You are banned from my home and from my life ever of all time. That, of course, was the opening credit song to Firefly, the number one show in my life. And it's very special because I just gave you mad shows right now. And all of them have multiple seasons. Even the online one had 5. I mean, I think the only show with like very minimal was about Chappelle's Show, which had, if I'm not mistaken, either 2 or 3. Firefly literally had 1 fucking season. It only had 12 episodes. It didn't have a whole run like all these other shows have, but it was able to get a following so freaking large that the show was canceled, well over a decade ago, and we're still talking about it. I'm not the only one that still talks about this show. This is one of the greatest shows that has ever been on TV ever of all time, and that's my opinion about it. Anybody's, feel free to feel however you want. But for me, for my money, Firefly is the greatest television show I've literally ever seen. And the proof, as I just said a second ago, is definitely in the pudding, because the show only lasted 1 season. And the only reason the show lasted 1 season, because it was a hit, is because of creative differences between Joss Whedon and Fox. Had there not been those differences, the show would have continued. Now, they didn't end the show the way they wanted to, so they crowdsourced an idea to get a movie going, in which they entitled Serenity, named after the ship that's on the show. And that's how they would write it off. And the movie was a success. So, I mean, that's got to tell you something right there. I mean, that show was awesome. One of the most quotable shows I've ever seen. You know, and they gave me one of the best quotes I've ever heard, which was the walk and the crawl line. It says, well, you know, when you can't crawl, you walk, and when you can't walk, you know the rest. And that one just hung with me for forever. It's such a great quote. And this show is awesome all the way around. So those are my top 10. Feel free to disagree. And if you do disagree, just know that I don't really give a fuck, because these are my 10 favorite shows ever of all time. And that's that. So we've talked about some TV shows. That's it. I just poured my heart out, my heart and soul into this shit over these television shows. I think I really could expand more. I know I didn't give a whole lot on each show just now, but I just wanted to give reasons as to why they're in my top 10. And if anything, if you're listening to this and you want to share your top 10, feel free. I'd love to hear it. Who knows? There might be some shows on your shit that I've never even seen before. So we'll learn from each other. Okay? We'll do that. We'll learn from each other. So.